morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order of the Missouri Valley Complex Committee, February 18, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order, and I thought Marie will be the new secretary. And if she comes, she can assume the duties. I'll take some notes here. Kevin, would you take roll, please?
Sure. Lacombe, Horning, Kralishek, Peters,
Here.
Hilsendigger,
Here.
Martinezson,
Here.
New,
Yeah,
Yarrow,
Here.
Clipfell, here.
we do have a quorum. Approval of January 21, 26 minutes. I'm going to apologize first for the way they may have ended up in your file box. I'm not sure what happened. They were good when I added the file, but there's some jerks and, what do you call them? Musical
Carriage return
problems.
from the old typewriter. Unintentional carriage return.
Unintentional.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to accept the minutes of January 21, 26?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion Hilsendager, second by Peters. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Public comment. Any public comment? Anybody wishing to address the Missouri Valley Complex as a resident of Burleigh County? Second call. Third call. Nobody wishing to address the complex committee, I'll close the public comment section. Approval of agenda. A couple items to add. Mr. Sam Arndorfer is here with Central Dakota Rodeo. We'd like to speak to the board and talk of the dates for the summer youth rodeos. And we also have one other item to add to the agenda, is a proposal to host a carnival out at the Missouri Valley Complex, and Commissioner Munson has that information that he'll provide during his section. Any other items to add or discuss?
Following your update, or Commissioner Munson's update on what has happened at the full commission, I would have a letter to introduce for discussion in response to what happened there, to try to grease the skids on deciding what we need to do going forwards. And so we did approve the idea of Chair Dakota and myself and Wayne Martinezson having a meeting. That meeting did not happen. It was partially my fault, but we can get into that. But I'll wait until the updates on what happened last night are made.
Okay, thank you. Any other items, wishes of the committee to add to the agenda or delete? Okay, hearing none, agenda will stand. Commissioner Munson.
Do you want to start with Sam, so that?
Oh, sure can.
Sure.
Mr. Arndorfer, if you'd like to, right there, please. Yeah. State your name and.
Hello, I'm Sam Arndorfer.
Is it on? Is it on?
No.
There.
How about now?
There you go.
I'm Sam Arndorfer. I'm the director of the Central Dakota Rodeo Club. As in the past, we were working with the Park and Rec. Obviously, there's been some changes. I was asked to come here, share our dates, some of our, I guess I have some questions as well, just trying to figure some things out. For everybody's knowledge, let me just make sure I get these dates right. So we are a local rodeo club, not for profit. Mainly, we put on 3 rodeos a year. We put a high school rodeo on in the spring. This year it will be May 29th and May 30th. The 29th we do a cutting and a reined cow horse, and then the actual rodeo is on the 30th. And then we do 2 junior high rodeos later in the summer. That'll be August 8th and August 9th, Saturday and Sunday. That one we have quite a few people stay in their trailers overnight, things like that at the fairgrounds or at the rodeo grounds. So those are the dates. In the past, we've budgeted the $600 to use the facility is what we've been charged in the past. Just wanted to make sure that moving forward, that is what you need to budget. And then we have, as well, in the past, the arena has been sprayed either with Roundup or some type of herbicide to try to keep the weeds down. The spring one isn't so bad, but if we don't spray it from May until August, we can get some pretty good weeds out there. And obviously, I took over as the director last year, so I don't have all of the history. Ryan Reel was the director prior to that. His kids obviously all got older and went to college, and mine are young, and I guess for the foreseeable future, until my kids get older and I can step away, you'll probably see me. But I know in the past, they've kept that arena clean. So if there's questions in the past, I don't really know. I do know that, just through my conversations with Ryan, there are some shared assets. And then there are some assets out there that are owned solely by the club. My understanding is most of, the panels, along the trees there are shared assets, where the stalls, along the trees were cost shared 50-50 between the club and Park and Rec or the county. I don't necessarily know who they're cost shared with. I might need to do a little more research, talk to Mike or find out. The arena, the Black Widow, the tool for tilling the arena is also cost shared. I think the chute, some alleyways are cost shared. There was new dirt brought in a few years back. I believe after the flood, there was a lot of sand, it turned out. So I think they brought in some new dirt at that point in time, and we try to keep that dirt as good as possible. Try to keep the weeds out of it. So, I mean, that's really my biggest items, was making sure that, hey, we have our dates, what's it gonna cost, and then try and figure out moving forward those shared assets and who I need to be in contact with, and if they're owned by the county or if it's Park and Rec, then I need to go back and visit with Mike or that, so. Questions for me?
Any questions for Mr. Arndorfer?
One question was, did you say May, was it 28th and 29th?
29th and 30th.
The sewer and all that going in, that's gonna not, is that gonna be on the, affect their part?
No,
Okay.
no, the sewer that's coming in should be through the racetrack and then straight west from there, so they should not be affected. Now, access may not be able to be brought in off of Expressway, we might have to come in up north. But we'll see where that's at that time.
Okay.
Just a quick questions for my own knowledge. Is it $600 per event or per?
The weekend.
The weekend? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, for the 2 weekend, per weekend.
Yep, so it cost us a total of $1,200 for those 2 events that we put on.
Okay, and then Kevin, do you have inventory, the equipment of how that was purchased, bought, or where that stands?
Steve, I'd have to check to be sure, but I would guess that anything that's still out there was shared costs with county, but I can check with Mike and Dave.
Okay.
One thing I did not mention is all of the panels that are back by the buck and shoots, just laying against the fence that we utilize for cutting, those are 100% owned by our club. And the panels, the road that runs north, there's stalls next to the trees, those were cost shared is my understanding. The ones that are farther to the east, kinda on the other side of the road, those are 100% owned by the club as well, is my understanding, so. Yeah.
What kind of shape are the panels in from the original rodeo? Well, that was out there, the original rodeos panels.
You know,
Are they in
they're,
good shape yet? My family gave $2,000 to get those in.
Yeah, they're in good shape, but unfortunately, the bow gates, there's a lot of bow gates, and my understanding, I know I've helped, for 4 years, we've lifted them, and I have a portable welder, and I've welded a few of them up, but the bottoms are rotting out on a lot of those bow
Sit in the
gates.
dirt.
They know it's so boggy right there, and especially behind the buck and shoots is really boggy where all those bow gates sit, and they just continue to sink. We've tried raising them up, I bring my skid steer in and we've raised them up, we put concrete blocks under them, and I don't know where the bottom is out there, but it isn't a concrete block,
No,
so.
it kept going down?
Yes, so that's the biggest issue, the panels are in good condition. It's just they continually push down into that dirt and then the bottoms rust off and, but for the most part, everything is in good shape. Last year, the county or the Park and Rec, I apologize for not knowing the details, but we added a couple more gates, which was significantly better just for the track arena, to be able to run the tractor out the back end instead of having to drive through the horses, and so we're very appreciative of that, so.
One question, so I think that the fact that you guys are cost sharing, that reduces the need to really nitpick on a lot of stuff, but do you know if there's ever been any discussion on, what the county or parks or whoever you've been dealing with has actually determined what their cost is in providing the space for you guys? Like, what are they providing for you, that would be a cost for the public in one way or another? Do you even know? Has there ever been discussions about that?
Are you speaking on like a day-to-day operating?
Yeah, like you're paying a rental fee, do you know what that is supposed to cover, or is it just the
So-
use and it's blanket use?
For one, it's blanket use, but the major expenses would we insure ourselves for that event. Electricity, there is lights. We do turn those on for those 2 days, just because there's people around to have, the lights are generally on for those 2 days. And other than that, you know, obviously the fixed assets, the panels and everything else, but as far as operating costs, I would say primarily the electricity.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I can, so Dustin, to try to answer a couple of the questions. The gates last year were purchased by this committee, or Burleigh County Commission combined. This group received the request and approved. I took that to Burleigh County Commission, which was approved. Cost to it, and I ran this scenario, Dustin, for a couple other options, you know. I really have no way of breaking down the cost of water that's used by an individual group on that whole complex. I don't know. Electricity, same thing. Not each facility or each part has been metered to know that. Nor do I want to spend the money to put in meters to know for sure how much each group is using. That the cost isn't there. But other than that, the cost sharing of water and electricity for those 2 weekends, there's very, very minimal expense for the county. So when the group requested the gates last year, in the 3 years I had been portfolio holder, that's the first expense that I've had for the rodeo.
One small follow-up on that, I did forget about the water, but for your guys' knowledge, if it is super dry, we do try to do dust control. We've hired that out of our budget. We don't fill the water through your guys' water. We have Guth Miller came in last year. It was dusty as all get up. Unfortunately, we generally fight mud, but for whatever reason, it rains a lot on those 2 weekends. But it was dry at the junior high last year, so we had Guth Miller come in and water that down. But we didn't fill through the county water. It'd be just whatever the horses drink.
I do think it would be a good idea to have kind of an inventory list of things that you have provided that have enhanced the facility from your end, just so that if the question ever comes up in the future, you can say, this is what we've been providing to this for you, and this is partially why this rate is where it is.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Orndorfer. How many participants, that's always a number interesting to me, how many participants per rodeo or weekend that you have?
You know, rodeo is ebbs and flows like any sport, but I believe around between 100 and 150 students some years, you know, they used to be in the 200s, but I would say right in that. So you're bringing in roughly, you know, 100 families probably for the weekend. There's a lot of people around there for those 3 days or 2 days, so.
And then operation of the event is purely volunteers in your group and your club that do
Yep.
all the administration and everything?
Yeah, we recently had we're a fairly low-key club. We have a winter meeting. We recently had that. We have roughly 15 to 20 families that participate in the club, and the club is solely driven on sponsorship money through local businesses. The rodeo itself, you know, there's entry fees and there's gate fees and there's stall fees. Virtually just pays the bills for the stock and for the rest of the insurance, medics, things like that. So the sponsorships are really what keeps us afloat to buy the panels or cost share in any of the equipment, so.
Good, thank you. The request is for May 29 and 30th for the high school rodeo, August 8th and 9th for the junior high rodeos. What are the wishes of the committee? Approval to submit to the county for a reservation?
I would move to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, I wanna thank you guys for taking care of the rodeo grounds out there. It's nice driving by there and see it full of people and horses and stuff, so keep it up.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the facility and it truly is.
If you got any new ideas, let us know.
Well, I got all sorts of ideas.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Munson.
Mr. Chair, I apologize, I left my agenda in the truck, so as I am going, and there are things you need to, you need to remind me what I need to talk about. For a couple of updates, first of all, just for your knowledge, and I don't know if this is knowledge that you have been given, but the garden plots out at the Missouri Valley Complex have been leased to Bismarck Parks and Rec, so that they are back in their inventory for the 26th season. I would like to talk to Marie and the 4-H group to see if there is something that they would like to get involved in that in the future, but for right now, Parks and Rec has got the experience, they know what they're doing out there, they've got the reservation system, and it was a much better, it made more sense to me to get that lease done with Bismarck Parks, so they can continue on for this season. The next request in front of us is the Great Benjamin's Circus. A late add-on to the agenda, it came into my email yesterday. There is a group that would like to rent a 160 foot by 230 foot area out at the complex, April 9th through the 12th, to bring in a circus. They are a completely self-sufficient unit. They're looking for, they prefer asphalt or gravel, which we do have an area not too far from the rodeo grounds, east and a little bit south, where we have set up something like this in the past. In the past, we have charged $2,000 for rental of a facility or that size of an area on a short-term notice. They would like water hookup for their RVs, which we can accommodate that out there as well. So that's all the information I got in this short little email. But I would like you guys to consider this, and again, if it's something you would like us to do, move for approval on that, or if it's something you would like me to get more information for. The hard part is, they're looking for April. And we're already in February, so it'd be March meeting before you guys got a chance to see this again. Yes, Wade?
Is that a circus or a carnival? And they do everything in a big tent?
They call it a circus.
Okay.
So again, this is what I got yesterday afternoon, and I have not had a chance to Google the group. So while you're Googling so we can see what this really is, Thomas, if you could help me out, get a user agreement together for the rodeo group. They should have one, Mark should have one in the file that we used last year. Just a matter of getting it resubmitted to the user group so that they can have it. And if this is approved as well, be the next one that we'll have to go through and get a user group ready for. I agree.
Yes, sir.
So they do appear to exist.
You have a webpage?
Yeah, and there's some videos on YouTube of them. I didn't start playing them. So I think more pertinent to this than the existing user base, because there's a long-standing relationship, they're spending money, so there's already kind of a public-private partnership, as much as I hate that term. When it comes to figuring out the dollar amount, you know as well as I do, whenever I hear big round numbers, I want to know where that number came from and if there's any sort of math that went into determining whether that is the right number.
Yep.
Because, you know, that is obviously affordable. I know what it costs to rent space for anything, anywhere, you know, whether it's in a building or in a field. So somehow, and on this kind of short notice, kind of developing that sort of a justification process might be tough, but I think that long-term, we should have a way to figure out what our actual cost of doing business with someone like this is, and, you know, making sure that in the agreement that, you know, if they leave it a mess and the costs are through the roof, like there needs to be a clawback, you know, if they ever want to come back again, stuff like that, you know, just basic stuff I assume are in anything like that. But I think this is one of those areas where developing a process to determine what it costs the county to accommodate these things, both on a break-even standpoint and if we get to the point of developing these things as profit centers.
Right. And I like that thought process, because at this point it's subjective. This is what we charged a group, similar size, similar area last time, and the last one I looked at was the Medieval Rush, because that was about the same area they were looking at. I don't remember the date on that, but it hasn't been since I've been a portfolio holder, so yeah, we need to look at that process of calculating whether it's a square footage, whether it's a day, whether these guys are asking for 3, what is that process? And I would take your input, please.
Wayne, were they here before? Have they previously been at the complex?
I don't know if this group has, but I know, according to Commissioner Bittner, visiting with him last night, we have had circuses at the complex before, during his term as a commissioner, but he couldn't remember the last one. I can't either. We could reach out to, I don't know if it's been in your guys' term.
Commissioner Munson, I think that 2 years ago, there was a circus that rented some space out there from us.
That recent.
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to look back at the schedule.
And that was under my watch. I don't
You might
remember.
have the last contract, or is it under management?
So are they planning to set up, cause that's about the time that Harlow's is gonna start moving their buses out there.
And that would be something for me to visit with them.
Cause
Because now Harlow's is further east of there.
kind of, yeah. They're right east of the, rodeo grounds.
Rodeo grounds. I'll reach out to Harlow's.
Cause I know they're, yeah, with their parking lot, they're gonna start, the minute it starts thawing.
Well, that was last week.
It grows again.
It's covered again, but it was last week. I was walking out there in at least 3 inches.
Oh, yeah.
of mud.
Yep.
So,
And where would this new circus park if it's all full of buses? We were with people park.
right.
Could we do something with the motocross track?
You could do something with the race car track, but you're gonna have that, Water line
The
going
sewer
through.
line's going through there,
I mean in our parking lot, cause the sewer line's not through there at all.
right?
we have a big empty field right east of Buckstuff.
I'm gonna say there's.
Yeah.
At least that's not I mean, that usually stays pretty solid, it's not swampland when it thaws.
It's not gravel though either.
It never got seeded to grass either.
No. And I've got to call into Mr. Coleman to
Yeah,
remind him
don't
of
rent it
that.
to him again.
What's that?
Don't rent it to him again.
The agreement was for one with him seeding, so the plan was not to, do that, so,
Wayne, have we checked if any other conflicts, any other circuses? The Shrine Circus comes,
like I said, I got this last night.
yeah.
So the little bit of chance I had, I talked to Commissioner Bittner a little bit about it, talked to Mary a little bit about it, who got me the last agreement with, the medieval rush, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't aware that we had something out there that recent.
It's sticking in my mind that
I don't remember it being of any of the agreements that Dave sent me.
I don't remember anything being out there, but
I'm guessing because of the short notice that it's kind of one of those situations like with concerts where they're traveling through, they got days to use and trying to monetize some days.
Yep, rather than passing through, might as well stop and, so I guess that would be if this commission would want to authorize me to finalize that, depending on Harlow's, depending on a few things.
Other conflicting events as
Yep.
well.
We used to have a circus out there way back, when the fair board was in charge of it. And, I can't remember the name of it, but they had big tents and they had elephants that pushed the posts into the ground. They used the elephant's trunk to pull them back out again afterwards, and it was a big tent.
I think I'd have more fun watching them set up and tear down than I would being at the.
It was,
at the
and
circus.
we had it on that area south, on the east side of Yagan Road. But since then, ours got built up a little bit in that drainage ditch there, but it was on that flat area from there down to, Apple Creek Road.
Oh,
But it was a pretty nice area, but, that was all grass then, so it's probably not that way anymore.
Thomas?
Just for reference, the Shrine Circus is April 10th and 11th.
it's right after.
It's right,
right during.
This is 9th through the 12th request, and the Shrine Circus here is 10th and 11th.
Yeah.
Do we know if there's any sort of non-compete agreements with them or anything like that that would interfere in the market?
You know, the hard part even with this, I don't even have a phone number to call the guy back. I have an email.
Wow.
You know. And that brings up another great point, and thank you, Thomas, for checking. Do we want a competing service? We've talked about that for years, even when we're something happening in Mandan or Bismarck, we prefer not to have a competing situation. And now here's another example of this is why this is in front of this committee. To talk about the conflicts, to talk about all of the options, so.
Does the county, well, I guess there's, the agreements with the city are kind of in flux or getting thrown out. Do you know if the county has any agreements to recognize agreements that the city makes with vendors like this?
You have to try that one again on me. 'cause you lost me.
Don't compete with each other?
Yeah, so has the county made any agreements that they will not compete with, activities and events that the city agrees to if they're able to do, avoid it?
Legal binding agreements, no.
Okay.
Our conscious, specifically this group's conscious, yes. In my opinion, we should be holding that above everything. We want to promote our facility in the right way. We certainly don't want to, have a 4th of July fireworks when Mandan's having a 4th of July fireworks. That just isn't
Right.
smart. So, knowing that the shrine is here, I'll back up. What is the direction of this commission to me to answer?
And are you looking for a motion?
Yep.
Or,
Yes, if you're ready.
well, I would move to hold off on this, either until we get more. No, I would move that we would reject it based on the shrine circus in town.
I would second that for discussion.
We have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second on the floor to reject the request for the circus at the Missouri Valley Complex due to conflict with the Shrine Circus the same weekend. Discussion.
I think because it's only $2,000, it's not worth risking an existing community relationship. But that this necessitates the need to create a process for entities that want to do events, to go through a process, whether it's a bidding process, procurement, whatever, create a website form, create a deadline system, you have to, 90 days ahead of time or something like that, and then get a handle on having the county create a policy on how to determine costs, determine what kind of events it expects to be break-even events, what kind of events it expects to make money off of.
I'm a little greedy, I wanna make money on all of them.
Hey, I'm still sitting here.
But, there's a within reason, the rodeo group has been a great partner for decades.
Yes.
And it can't cost the residents money for that event to happen. We should do we can certainly do the deep dive to determine what that is, but it's not gonna cost the county $1,200 to have that group of people out there for 6 days.
Right.
And 2 days or 4 days for the events and a day ahead. The amount of work that group does to keep our facility looking good and maintained, very minimal. I mean, the weed spraying would be something that the county would actually incur. But whether I was able to get the weed officer to do it or pay for it privately, either way, it's gonna be minimal. But again, it can't cost the residents money.
Yeah,
And so.
The county has to take care of the property regardless.
Right.
And what the rodeo is doing is adding value to it. There's equipment that I would assume under certain conditions other people can use if it makes sense. So, it's not the same sort of thing as somebody coming in and just renting the space and, leaving. And so because of the short notice and all the other factors and the need to develop a process.
Yep.
And this goes to a lot of the things that the county does, that there's a lack of process.
Really?
Okay, any further discussion? Motion on the floor is to reject the request for circus on April 9th and 10th due to conflict with the community's engagement in the Shrine Circus on the 10th and 11th. 9 through 12. 10th and 11th conflict with Shrine Circus. All in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Steve, have you heard anything from Swenson and Hagan on mitigation?
Only from the last meeting, Commissioner, was discussion with Jason, and they're really watching or waiting for the ETA policy discussion, because that'll switch over to the county planning department, anything that they're doing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I reached out to Lon, because Jason wasn't responding to my emails or texts or phone calls. Lon responded immediately that he would have him call me the next day. I think that was a month ago.
Yeah.
I ran into Lon at a planning and zoning meeting, and we stood there and texted him again, and I still didn't get a phone call in the last week.
Yeah, the conversation was the switching over, what will be the county's requirements and plating, and engaging the engineering, county engineers and the county planning department, and what's the discussion of roads and all those kinds of things, and it also has an impact on the mitigation plan and retention plans are some part of the road discussions too. You know, we'll do it ditches or pipes or requirements, what's gonna be required by the county, so.
Wouldn't we still have to have a mitigation bid?
It's
To-
the scope of what that
The
would be.
scope is what he's waiting for.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, and that's, we can get into part of that discussion with another topic here on process, but that's where it is. It's gonna be end up over in the county planning department role and responsibility, so, you know, spending time with the city planning department, they probably don't wanna talk about it much either right now, so.
They've not returned my phone calls either. I was expected to give an update at last night's commission meeting, hoping to have that same update for the group. I did not get a call back from Daniel, so when I'm done here, I'll be going upstairs
Okay.
to just stand and
Yeah.
find out. Because as of the last meeting we had with planning and zoning, March 1st, this all turns over, the ETA turns over to the county. And with that, we were supposed to have all of the agreements done by then.
Okay.
And we had our first meeting with planning and zoning to discuss the process and what
County planning?
county planning, city planning, county highway. We had met in December to get this ball rolling so that we could figure out whose duties, how things were gonna go. Because even with the county handling the planning and zoning of the Missouri Valley Complex, we still have to have fire,
Right.
Bismarck City Fire involved. We still have to have Bismarck PD involved, you know, and so they were writing that process out during the meeting, and we were supposed to have a rough draft in January. And I have not seen a rough draft. I asked Mitch before he went on vacation, he had not seen a rough draft yet. So I will stop upstairs before I leave the building to confirm with Daniel what the plan is.
Well, a couple of maybe simple issues, or it's issues that are on the table, is the discussions of curb and gutter on roads and how do you convey stormwater. Are parking lots gonna be asphalted, or will they be gravelled? And that's all part of that mitigation. and
Right.
Moving of stormwater, and how many detention ponds will be considered? Was it multiple, or one large one at the bottom? I mean, there's a lot of things, so just simple things like that, because that conversation of roads and parking lots and asphalt and curb and gutter have been thrown out by multiple people.
Yep.
In different aspects, different discussions. So that's something that Jason, what are we gonna do?
One of the conversations I've been having is trying to identify the Missouri Valley Fairground as a park. Steve, you and I have talked about that. We want to consider it a park or park-like facility, simply because we don't want high traffic going through as a thoroughfare from Expressway over to Midwest Drive. So what can we do, and that question is in State Attorney Lawyer's hands, what can we do to label it as a park? And is there a problem with that? Is there a process to do that? Because that facility, whether it's considered a fairground or however it's considered, it should be treated like a park, in my opinion. But it would be nice to be able to have that designation when it goes to Burleigh County Planning, that this is a park. for the citizens of Burleigh County. Does that then put this group under the Burleigh County Park Board as opposed to a separate group, that reports to Burleigh County Commission? And so that is the next steps that I have initiated with State's Attorney Lawyer to ask those kinds of questions, because if it is a park, to me personally, there's no curb and gutter. We could if we wanted to, but does it have to have, is it legislatively required to have gutter? And if it is, can they be rolled gutters instead of the traditional what you see in town? Because we all know they're gonna go up and over the curb if there is a curb there. So,
So that was one of the items on the list. The other one is, updated meeting last night, the discussion with the county commission on our request.
I'll shut my mic off for that one. You all saw it. It was the typical 3-2, hope that, two of the commissioners who don't agree or don't believe in what we're doing, get their way. Luckily for us, we have another commissioner on our side, and it was 3-2 in our favor. What ended up happening last night is put more burden on me going to staff asking for help as opposed to you guys going to staff asking for help. And maybe, yeah, I'll be careful how I say that. Mr. Schwab wants to have his own idea done at the complex. And I think we all share the same idea of what should happen at the complex. And moving forward for the next 9 months, it's gonna be a 3-2 conversation every time we go. For you, you have the support of 3. And this is, and I know Steve is mad at me, not mad at me, mad at the process. It's too slow. It's extremely slow. I don't know if we'd have been better off staying in the city, planning and zoning, because we'd have been submitted by now. We'd have had that process in place. Commissioner Bakken felt very, very strongly that this needed to be in Burleigh County Planning and Zoning hands. And I didn't want to ask him why. I know Steve likes to do things without permits, and however he thinks things should get done, just get done. I live by planning and zoning code my whole life, and I need us to be in the right planning and zoning code. I know Commissioner Bakken told you guys to build a deck, just build it. What are they gonna do? I disagree with that as much as there are rules and regulations to protect us. And so it needs a permit, unfortunately. It's expensive to do it that way. This process, I do believe, will go faster in Burleigh County Planning and Zoning's hands, but I gotta get the city to finalize the process so that we can get it in Mitch's hands and let him go to work. There's going to be less regulations, there will be less cost to do it the county way as opposed to the city way. But again, this is a park, and it is to benefit the residents of Burleigh County. I don't want a through street in there that we would have to pay for to allow residents to go from Expressway to Midwest Drive. That's a cost burden on the taxpayers and on us that we don't want to deal with. So I do agree that it's best to go through Burleigh County. I just need it. I need March to come here pretty fast so that this is done. So I don't know what else I should publicly say about last night.
I wanna hear it.
Well, if I can add one or two things. One is, it kept coming back last night that everybody's so short of staff, and we had to have access, there's just There's just no time, there's no bodies, the blood's all left, we don't have any blood left to let anybody up there, so you guys can't do this.
And I completely disagree with that statement. So does Commissioner Bakken. Even on our own planning and zoning side, we have 2 employees that should have been added to that department. We haven't even advertised for it. So it's not a fact that we can't get them. We haven't tried to get them yet. To my knowledge, the highway department was only 2 individuals short on being fully staffed. So I don't buy we're short. I don't buy the fact that an engineer has to run the equipment out there to have a meeting. But I'm not willing to poke that bear yet either. This meeting room works okay in my opinion, not that that wouldn't be better. Thankfully, Thomas comes and sets up our equipment so that we can get it recorded and get it on the website. I so much appreciate that. It's just not time to poke that bear yet to push the meeting out there. Getting their help, you give me a list of things that you need, I will forward that right to Dan, to the head engineer, and we'll get that information. We'll get whatever needs to be done.
Well, I think that was the intent, or it was the intent of the last meeting to is request that help, not to go looking for maps of water and sewer lines, and we don't need that. It's to put the ball in motion that everybody can talk about these things and work through this process of planning so that we have a concept and everybody agrees till we move forward and start it, because the ETA changes changed the whole schedule about 5 months.
Yes.
On this thing, whether they understand that or not, but then we're not gonna be wandering around the back rooms of this county shop. It's to gain that resource and knowledge, because they're gonna be part of this discussion. So with that, I'm gonna ask Mr. Gregwell to,
Have you reached out to Marcus in the last month since his retirement?
no, help that.
At one point, I had a conversation with Marcus and asked him when he would be ready to help this committee as we grow, and his comment was after retirement.
Yeah.
So whether that is the chair or myself, I think Marcus has a stake in this, and we could get a lot of knowledge from Marcus and to help us.
Dustin?
So, I think that what you were talking about, Steve, on even gravel versus asphalt, like that's a great example. Like, if we can't work with the highway department on the planning to determine that, how do we, that basically makes the decision, well, it's gonna be asphalt, because if we can't work with the highway department on the planning, we can't count on the highway department resources being used for maintenance, so then you're pushed into doing asphalt because you're gonna have less ongoing maintenance, in theory. And so, I think that, going past the portfolio holder conflict issue, I think that this is where the commission needs to come up with its own vision of the scope. And so, I have put together a letter, and my thinking on this is, one, to get some thought from you guys, and then determine whether it would be better to do a joint committee letter, or if individual committee members would want to write their own versions of it. But from what I can tell, the commission does not want us to establish what this committee does, necessarily. And if that is the case, then the commission needs to set the scope for what this committee's role is. And I think that at some point in this whole discussion, it's fine for you, you're the portfolio holder, you're the liaison to what we do, all of that. But if the county does not establish what the scope is and tell us what resources this committee has access to to succeed in the mission towards that scope, then we're constantly gonna be going around in circles here, spinning our wheels. And I'm to the point where I think that if they don't want to really sit down and say, this is what we want you to do, that we're just gonna be spinning our wheels, wasting time. And if that is what they want, then they need to tell us. And so, I don't know how to reapproach this discussion at the full committee, that'll be your job, of course. But at some point, the commission has to be the one that says, if they don't like the direction that the committee is going, they need to set the direction for the committee. And then there won't be these issues. But if they set a direction for the committee and won't commit to providing county resources to execute that scope and mission, then it's not an unfunded mandate, but it's an unfunded role, or an unadvised role. And so I think that at some point that this needs to be brought in from a different angle, in a non-confrontational standpoint of, okay, the commission doesn't want certain things to happen in a certain way, but what does it want to happen, and what way does it want those things to happen?
Well, let me try to respond. This commission, and this is gonna fit exactly in the Burleigh County method, right? This commission is what I want as the portfolio holder. This is the group that I want together to grow the facility. In true county fashion, two of them don't want this to grow. So, no matter what, there's always gonna be that conflict. What's interesting is I don't tell Commissioner Bakken how to grade a road. That's his portfolio. I don't tell Commissioner Bittner how to run the finance department. That's his role. They should not be involved in this. But because they have a strong belief, opposite of mine, we are going to have conflict at every step of the way. And there is nothing I can do about that other than pray for a good election. I didn't pray hard enough last time. I'm gonna pray harder this time. But the reality of it is the way Burleigh County Commission operates is you have 5 complete different individuals running their portfolios the way they choose. And there is typically no meddling in that process. Now, county manager, in my hopes and dreams, will modify a lot of that. In my opinion, I should not be hiring and firing. But as a portfolio holder, I literally have to write out disciplinary actions for employees that have made mistakes. That should not be a portfolio holder. That should be HR, that should be the direct supervisor of that department, so on and so forth. But it does not happen that way in Burleigh County government. The county manager, I'm hoping, takes away a lot of that process. To me, a commissioner should be process, procedures, budget. We should be looking for the overall success of the county, not specifically what the highway department is doing or the veteran services is doing. But we have a, I don't know, decades-long process that has been put in place by people before me, that individual county commissioners are responsible for a plethora of things that I'm not trained in HR. I'm not trained to write disciplinary actions, but that's part of my job. And it's it's backwards.
And that's because, this is side commentary, I've always believed that the portfolio system in general is antiquated and is designed to allow for certain things to go without notice. We see this at the city level when one commissioner wants to pursue reforms and changes. If it steps over the line into somebody else's portfolio, he gets slapped on the wrist. We all know who that is. And he's well-intended, and I think he's right 99.7% of the time. But the system is antiquated. And so ultimately, if you don't think that the full commission should set the scope for this committee, then our activities should be redefined internally, and essentially, we're your advisory board and nothing else.
Which, from the last meeting, is what we were attempting to do, is as a group, as a committee here, to assist and set that scope and set that direction with the resources that the county has that we knew we would have to address. The highway department, the legal administration, operations, and draw those folks into this conversation so that we could lay that on the table to the county commission. Here's what we see as the plan. Do you agree? How do you want to adjust this? And so, I mean, that's where we're stymied right now.
Yeah. Now, the Park District, in my opinion, does it the best. There are 5 commissioners, each one has a portfolio, or 2 of them have portfolios that are together. But again, it's in an advisory position. The director is who is handling that day to day. That's the right system. I don't know how many cycles it's gonna take to get the county back to a system that is workable. I'm pretty sure it won't happen in my time, even after a 3rd term, to get to that point. But again, that's a matter of praying for good elections. We need the right people at the seat to do that. But your statement is probably more accurate than I want to admit it. You are the advisory board to me. You're my sounding board, you're the direction. And as I pointed out last night, I have 0 employees. So this is not something I get to assign. Again, luckily, Auditor Sponskowski has been very, very good to me and has helped me in a lot of ways. You know, having Thomas here is a huge benefit. But I am a portfolio holder with 0 employees.
And I think that to mitigate the frustration of the people on this committee, just making the determination and accepting that that's how we have to operate, that if we don't want to ask the commission to set the scope for what we do, then our scope is, we're your advisor as a group, and you will tell us when you need us to do more than that.
I don't ever want to tell you anything. I will ask, I will never tell.
Okay. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean,
Yeah.
but that's a big difference to me. I will never tell. I will ask. I'm asking for a little more patience. I need to get planning and zoning now with this ETA thing figured out so that we have a direction to go. If the city backs out completely on it, at least then I know I gotta go to the city to get the plat done. But with no calls back, I don't even have a clue. But I will ask for your forgiveness and ask for your patience.
Which part of the property out there falls in the ETA?
None of it.
Well, that's
No,
good.
It's all city property, but through the negotiations between the city and the county asked for the county to manage the planning and zoning of that facility, similar to how the state handles the courthouse.
Okay.
So even though it's all in city limits, it all falls underneath their jurisdiction, but rather than de-annexing the land and going through that process, it was easier to ask for planning and zoning authority.
I got another, can I go on with some more stuff?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, now, Buckstop Junction out there, which I'm a chairman of, and Missy is on the board too, we'd like to see some growth out there too. We always wanted some indoor restrooms out there. And I got a big building at home, I'd like to donate out there, and, we gotta get approval for that too. It's 214 feet long, 70 feet wide, and 16 high. It's a big steel building. I bought it from Hank Elber's here in town quite a few years ago. Sat up behind a shop up behind UPS up there, behind your shop.
Behind my shop, yeah.
And that's sitting out at the farm. I was always gonna put it up, but it's too hilly around my land to put it up on. And we'd like to put that up out there, I'll donate it to the Buckstop Junction for exhibit hall and stuff, but we gotta get whatever, we gotta hoops to get that started, get some funding behind it to get it up. It's gonna take a lot of cement.
Right.
And another big thing I want, if I do go through with that building deal, I want a restriction on there where after it's built, the county doesn't own it if we pull out or something like that. I don't want the county to own it, because that's hindered a lot of projects out there at the grounds over the years. If we build it, the county gets it, and that scared a lot of people away from building projects out there. And we want that eliminated out of the contract.
I was gonna say, couldn't that just be in the contract?
Well, it could be.
Buckstop.
Yeah, but it was for other grounds out there when we had the fair board out there. So, if you wanna know the history, I can tell you everything. But then, getting back with that sewer line that they're putting in out there on the track. Can you get that engineer to move that line further to the north? Because we cannot have that track tore up, because that guy wants to get this track going again. We do not want that track torn up, because once that clay is out of place, it'll never get put back in. When I was out there this fall when they were working on that, to the east there, coming across the motocross track. And now, when they dug that ditch and they go in 20 feet, put that big 42-inch pipeline in, they're filling up the trench with old dead trees and stuff. You don't put that on top of a sewer line. I saw them do it. I wish I would've had a camera there.
Yeah,
That's illegal.
absolutely.
And they said they're gonna go back and fix it to tear up any of those underground lines and stuff. But you disturb that track surface, that clay that's on there, that'll never get packed in again, because they won't care when they put it back in.
We were very specific in those meetings. Dave and I were, it's in the written contract that that track has to be.
Yeah.
And we had attempted, actually, we really at the time weren't worried about circle track, we were more worried about the motocross track, because they were taking part of that as well. They were immovable.
But that engineer you had that designed that, he can be replaced. They moved that another 20 or 30 feet to the north on that other old part of the flat area. It won't interfere with the track, and you hit less power lines underneath the ground.
That's the city.
Well, it's gotta be changed. It hasn't been done yet, but it should be changed before they come in there this spring and finish it.
Again, we tried.
But we gotta try harder to get that engineer to move that. Because I do not want that track dug up. And another thing, when Kathleen Jones was county commissioner, she hauled in all that black dirt, clay, and that came up there behind North Washington Street up there north of Missouri Slope Nursing Home. Came out of a coulee up there. I followed the trucks one day from up there clear down to the fairgrounds there. And they dumped it in that big pile on the east end of that parking lot up by the track. And why was it put there? What was the purpose of it?
I can call Kathleen and ask.
Yeah, I asked her. She won't talk to me. She knows what I think of her.
All right, well, yeah, sir.
That big pile of dirt, can we use some of that? at the motocross track? I mean, is there,
It's black dirt, it's clay. But I don't know what kind of clay it is. It's got a lot of cattails in it, and I don't know what it has for rocks in it.
okay, well, we deal with enough rocks, but,
Okay.
You certainly can use,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, we're running, well past the hour here, but, Commissioner Munson, any last thoughts and what our direction or what you'd like us to do in the immediate future? Cause every day that goes by, it's time ticking away.
Quite honestly, until I get answers from planning and zoning, I don't have any more direction. I wish I had, I wish I did, but I have to have that direction from planning and zoning first. Because I have no idea what the city is going to give the county for restrictions to move it to Burleigh County Planning and Zoning. And it may be prohibitive, depending on what their demands are. But,
What you're saying, it may stay in the city planning's realm and not the county's planning.
you know,
Possible.
it depends. I mean, if they come up with a system where Burleigh County Planning and Zoning processes it, but has to have city planning and zoning concurrence, we're wasting time.
Right.
You know, and so until I see a written agreement to find out, I don't even want to speculate.
Okay, good.
I can prepare for 15 different scenarios and not one of them be accurate.
Okay, thank you. Dustin, what are your thoughts on your correspondence proposal?
Well, I think I kinda, I think I came to the conclusion and, you know, I think it would be up to everybody individually. I wouldn't put out there that we should, as a body, put out a message, but if individual members of this committee, if you would like to send a message to the county commission, I think that would be a good idea in general. And because they need to hear from the folks on this committee as well, so that they are not put in the position of thinking that Commissioner Munson is, for lack of a better word, manipulating the committee or anything else. And so if they are hearing from individuals about the need for more guidance, I think that would help. Otherwise, we'll just have to kind of operate the way that we have and deal with what comes down the line as much as we are willing to.
Okay. Any other committee members' thoughts on moving forward? We have a discussion of the plat review, site planning, and facility planning meeting again. Any other thoughts on how do we hold and Commissioner Munson's wishes, to a little patience here to see, to move it through, work through Commissioner Munson, by the wishes of the committee. Thoughts? Status quo, move forward as is?
We need to see some dirt moving out there this summer. People are getting impatient. We gotta start doing something out there. So, let's put the paperwork behind us a little bit and start moving some stuff out there. That's what I'd like to see.
Sounds like you got a tractor you wanna bring to town.
No, I got other things.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Munson. Quickly, update on the committee membership, for everybody's knowledge, Tyler Kralasek has left Extension Service, so that position is open at this time, and visiting with Dina, the district supervisor, they're working on filling the position, and they do intend to keep a position on the committee, so there'll be a replacement at some point in time. The other item we have was Commissioner Munson covered, the majority or all of that is the plat review process, site planning, and this committee's engagement, and we'll work through that. Tom, would you introduce your guest today, or your fellow track?
Oh, he can introduce himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Caleb Benish, I'm the president of the Bismarck Motocross Association, and I just wanna come and hear what's going on and check it out and offer my help in any way that it can be needed, so,
Thank you for being here.
thank you.
Any other items for the good of the order? Our next meeting is March 18th at 12 o'clock noon. Sam, thank you for coming. Caleb, thank you for being here. Thomas, thanks. And greetings to Commissioner Jeske.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
was there not a position on this board for rodeo at one point?
That position has still been open.
That's still been open.
That's up to their decision.
Sam wanna fill that spot?
I'll get back to you. I thought we were adjourning here quickly.
I wanted to extend the offer before you left.
Okay.
This might have been the wrong meeting to ask him.
Yeah, he learned too much. All right, hearing nothing, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
I seen that your August road